Hello and welcome to my weekly market analysis, this time on the Indian markets, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. I'm Brandon Wendell, Charter Market Technician, and I'm going to be sharing with you my observations and analysis on those markets. So we'll jump right into it and start off here looking at the weekly chart of the Nifty. We have almost reached the area of demand. You see, last week we came very close. This week we actually did hit the 38% retracement. We are still above 50, which means that we're still pretty bullish here, even though we did die off in our bullish momentum. It's just simply a pullback right now. We may be done with the correction at the 38% retracement. We'll have to see. But if we do fall down a little more, then we may go into this demand zone and bounce from that area of demand. But I think this week might be a little bit more bullish than what we've been seeing. I think that we've got to retrace a little bit first before we can go down lower if we do. Going into the daily chart, you can see how we stalled out to the 38% retracement. It's the same Fibonacci level, and the demand zone still being a little bit lower below that level. So if we do pop up, we may stall out. This is not really a great supply, but we have drop, base, 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 and drop. Only one new low, not two, and it didn't go down far, very, very far. But I'm wondering if this is enough, this basing and drop, this imbalance with the gap as well, to cause us to push down from this area and possibly move to that 16,722. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that if we can't get some more bullish activity. Overall, this looks pretty bearish right now on the daily time frame. Going down to the 4-hour chart, you do see the same area I was just talking about with the drop base drop kind of holding us down, and the RSI is actually below 50. That's all pretty bearish as well. So this is suggesting that we may have seen the peak recently and are going to be heading down, as I said, to 16,722. So kind of changing our idea of what was going on. Instead of on the weekly chart getting a push up, it looks as though we may just continue to move to the downside and continue our retracement. Going back here, this looked like indecision as we're moving down. Instead of indecision before a rally, it could be indecision before a continuation. So everything is pointing that we might be heading down towards that 16,722 or even lower, because we're getting a lot of bearish activity coming out of these markets and no momentum to the upside. The only thing that's the saving grace is we might not go there directly because we have a possible bounce happening right here. We've moved down to this rally-based rally area at 17,188, 17,149, and the RSI is pretty high. It's above 40. So typically when you bounce from those areas, you can move up pretty well. But I expect that we're going to be seeing a stalling as soon as we come up to the 382 to 417 level. So this may just be a small bounce up into that area as supply before we continue, as I said, the march downwards toward the 16,700 area. Going into the Bank Nifty, you can see that we've just come down to a demand zone last week, actually 2 weeks ago, and are now starting to see a little bit of bouncing going on here. We have indecision where we're closing pretty close to the middle of the candle, a little bit more buying pressure than we have selling pressure. So there's a little bit more bullishness here. And we didn't go into bearish territory with the momentum, so this looks still pretty bullish. On the daily chart, you can see the demand zone we bounced from. Problem is we bounced below 40, which means we're not going to make a new high here before we start moving down again. And we may end up stalling out in this area. I didn't mark it as a zone, but technically you have drop, base, 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 and then drop with some follow through. So it's not the strongest of zones, so I didn't mark it. We really had a better zone here, drop, base, drop at 748, but we may stall out before that, just above 37,000 before we head down to 34,760. So I do see more bearishness coming in here on the Bank Nifty on the daily time frame. Going into a 4-hour chart, you can see that we have a positive divergence. So that was suggesting a little bit of a move to the upside, a correction coming. But as you can see, we've got overhead supply. This one's been tested at the 748, and it's also Fibonacci retracement. We just hit the 23.6, kind of failed there. I think we still might have enough momentum to get back up a little higher, but there's no way we're going to be able to break through all these levels. So we're either going to stall at the 748, which is a 38% retracement, or we'll stall at the 632, which is just above the 50% retracement. Either one of those is going to be a good shorting opportunity to take us down to 828 and possibly even the 318 level. Going down to the 60-minute chart, we may see a little bit of resistance here. As you see, there's a rally, base, and drop supply at 36,597 to 844. So that could work as a pretty good resistance and supply. We're seeing a little bit more bullish pressure. We couldn't get into bearish territory, is what I'm saying. So as we moved down, we couldn't get below 40. That would have sent us straight down. So that's why we're getting a little bit of a bounce here. But if we don't get above 60 or we get some sort of divergence between the peaks on price and the indicator, then look out below because we're going to drop in this 36,600 area down to the first extension, 35,259, or even down to the 828 area of demand. So that is pretty much what I'm seeing in those markets, the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Hopefully you enjoyed the analysis. If you did, go ahead and click the subscribe button so we can be notified when I put up new videos every week and follow along with me. I will talk to you again soon. So take care, trade safe, trade well, everyone.